You know how aggravating it is when you see a bad remake to a movie that you love? Just imagine how annoying it is when you see a bad remake to a movie you don't even like. What is up, everybody? Welcome to my review of The Strangers Chapter 1, the first piece of a already filmed trilogy that we're going to see get rolled out over the next year. So for a little bit of background on me, I have never been a fan of the original Strangers. I have always found those characters, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedsman, to be among the most infuriatingly stupid horror characters that I have seen in a movie, and so despite a lot of the genuinely good things that that movie does accomplish, I've never been able to enjoy it because I hate their characters and I want them to die. Then you had The Strangers Prey at Night. Not a movie that I've ever loved, but certainly for me, a little bit more entertaining than the first film. You know, it's a little more low-hanging fruit, a little more slasher-ish. That's more my speed. And when I heard that they were doing a new trilogy, I really had no interest in it until I heard that Renny Harlin was going to be the guy directing all three of them. This is the guy that gave us Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Cliffhanger, Die Hard 2, one of my favorite films of all time, The Long Kiss Goodnight. He's a director that I've always really enjoyed, and I was curious to see what he was going to bring to The Strangers, not to mention what kind of stories they were cooking up and the level of confidence they must have had in it to go ahead and commit to 3 film releases rather than 1 and testing the waters and seeing what the response is first. And then we got the trailer for The Strangers Chapter 1, and my god, if that did not look like a blatant remake slash ripoff of the original film, just hitting every popular beat from that movie. The guy standing in the background. Why are you doing this? Because you're home. Like, that really dropped my expectations for this. Why you would kick off a new trilogy of films by cheaply remaking the more beloved of this franchise, I don't understand that decision, but nonetheless, I still walked in with a good amount of curiosity for Renny Harlin's name alone. And unfortunately, this is yet another contender for possibly worst horror film of the year. 2024, what are you doing to me, man? I feel like every time I turn on the camera to talk about a new horror film that's not titled Abigail, I start off with, that might be the worst shit I've seen in the last few months. But just in case you and a loved one are in a similar situation as the protagonist of this film and you're off in an Airbnb isolated by yourself with no food anywhere, plan ahead next time by having ready-to-eat, delicious chef-curated meals by the sponsor of today's video, Factor Meals. Another school year is ending, the days are bright, the pools are cool, and another exciting summer vacation is right around the corner. Except we're adults. And it's not so much of a vacation for us, is it? So with the warm, sunny days calling, be sure to fuel up using Factor's no mess, no prep meals. And you can even continue to stride towards your summer wellness goals with options like Keto, Protein Plus, and Calorie Smart. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery service takes all of the stress out of eating and sets you up for success. Skip the grocery store, the prep, the cleanup, and enjoy delicious chef-curated meals delivered right to your door. With over 34 chef-prepared and dietitian-approved meals, there's a variety of weekly options that will never allow you to fall victim to food fatigue. Plus, you can round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with over 55 different add-ons, such as apple cinnamon pancakes or fruit smoothies. So if you're looking to take the hassle out of healthy eating this summer, head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code CodyLeach50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box and 20% off of your next month of orders. That's code CodyLeach50 at Factor75.com. And thank you so much to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's video. So starting off with the positives of The Strangers Chapter 1. I still think the masks of the Strangers are pretty cool. I don't really feel like there's enough on the bones of these characters, at least in the 3 films that I've seen so far, to really get that enamored with them, but I've always liked the masks. I've always liked the look. I've always liked, more specifically, the sackhead guy and his, pairing up with the axe. There's just something about the look of the Strangers that I do understand why they're iconic, and it continues to be iconic here. They're shot well, they're slightly tweaked masks from the previous 2 films. And to be honest, I actually prefer the darker look of the burlap in this film. It was awful bright in the original, the 2008 film. So The Strangers still work. They just need a better script. They need a better movie. There are some really good shots in the movie, which is something that inevitably is going to happen when Renny Harlin is directing. The guy really knows how to craft and to execute some really good shots. There's one in particular where the protagonist is playing on the piano, and there's a mirror above the piano, and you start to see the sackhead guy just chilling in the background. I like those types of scares, ones where they don't force your attention to it. They don't have a loud boom or a music note or the camera, moves over to the corner of the frame they want you to kind of put your attention on. They just let a scene play out, something happens, and they trust in you as the viewer to have your eyes wandering and to catch what they're trying to direct your attention to very subtly in the background. I think they utilize the setting of the woods really well. This Airbnb that this couple is staying in is way off in the boonies, and the way that they shoot these sequences of them being hunted in the house and outside of the house, the utilization of natural light in some spots, some addition of fog in certain scenes to kind of obscure what is going on. The woods is a classic setting for a horror and especially a slasher film, and it continues to be a really good setting to use. Now moving on to the negatives, and my God, this is a horrible script. A horrible script. Look, if the original Strangers didn't exist, and we didn't have that to immediately compare this to, it wouldn't seem as bad. I'll admit that off the bat. This would just be a passable, decent enough slasher film. If this was the first time that we were introduced to the Strangers, most people would walk away saying, okay, not the best effort, maybe the sequels would be good because those killers are cool. But because we have the 2008 film to compare it to, this seems all the more lazy and all the more terrible in the writing, because it's essentially the same fucking movie with just a couple of insignificant things tweaked.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you're here.
Instead of the couple starting off being on the rocks with their relationship, they're very happy with each other and they look forward to eventually getting married. Instead of it being, hey, we're gonna go stay at my parents' house while everybody's partying at this wedding, hey, we're going to go stay in this Airbnb and that's on the way to the destination that we're getting to that doesn't fucking matter whatsoever. Both find some insignificant reason to get the male protagonist out of the house for like 20 minutes so that the female can be targeted solely so that when he comes back, she seems like a nut. Eventually somebody comes to the house that could help them and is not one of the Strangers, but because they decide for some stupid fucking reason not to announce their presence whatsoever, they get taken out in an accidental way. And then of course, which the trailers just blatantly show you, the couple ends up at some point being tied up in chairs with the three strangers looking at them, asking, why are you doing this? Because you're home. Beat for fucking beat. Identical, but not nearly as effective. And that's coming from somebody who doesn't even like the original film. And it baffles me why they would do that, okay? Clearly they have a 3-movie arc they're trying to go over here for the surviving protagonist to be the through line, and I'm assuming there's eventually going to be some reveals or some kind of character exploration with the actual Strangers, and I don't even know how I feel about that. Maybe some kind of lore, or maybe they're gonna full-on give us identities. I don't know. They have something that they want to explore over 3 separate stories. Why you would kick it off by giving the cheapest, laziest retread of a pretty beloved film is a maddening decision to me. And I think it is going to severely impact the success of the next 2 films. Even if the next 2 films are legitimately good, the box office is going to suffer because of the response this is inevitably going to get. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they just scrap the theatrical run altogether and maybe just throw the other 2 on some streaming service later on this year. Beyond all of that, the one element that is very clearly trying to be a bit different here in regards to this original story and likely is going to be explored further in the next 2 films is that the actual town that this Airbnb is in, that our protagonists find themselves broken down in, the town is kind of a character. Like all of the weird backwoods characters that they fill it with are supposed to give you this impending doom and this dread and maybe even have you start connecting dots like maybe he's Sackhead, maybe she's the Dollface, I don't know. But to me, everybody in this fucking town was so overcooked, so over the top.
Hi.
Hi.
I mean, you take creepy backwoods fucking townsfolk, which is already kind of a cliche, and then you crank that up to 11, it's not getting the intended effect. It just seems so overdone. I mean, these guys literally pull into this little diner in the middle of bumfuck nowhere to get a little bit of lunch. They turn around and there's two mechanics like 100 feet behind them staring at them in their car like this. They sit down to order their food at the diner. The boyfriend asks for the vegetarian options for his girlfriend. Everybody gives this disgusted look like, Gina, got another one of them vegans. They let it slip in a loud conversation that they've been dating for 5 years. And then you got the bitch behind the counter who's like, you've been dating that girl for 5 years and you ain't put a ring on it? Fuck you waiting for? Later on, while the boyfriend's off on his little side mission, he comes across a couple of people from the diner. Like, hey, come down, come have a drink with us. No, I'm good. I got to get back to my girlfriend. What, you think you're too good to be hanging out with us, boy? The whole fucking town is this way. Everybody they interact with is this way. I'm sorry. The first fucking person that I interact with that gives me that kind of bullshit attitude, I'm back in my car. Fuck you and your diner. I'll eat somewhere else. And my God, and I'm probably going to rant on this for at least another 7 or 8 minutes. So buckle up. What is it about the Strangers franchise that they always have to have the dumbest motherfuckers on earth as the protagonist? Why? We had that in the first film. It's a very popular film, but most people that don't like it, that is the reason why. It's certainly my reason why. The characters are a little better in Prey at Night, but a lot of dumb shit happening in that one too. In here, they might be dumber than both of those movies' protagonists put together. And I already hear the defenses, I already saw some of them on Twitter. Well, if they were smart, then we wouldn't have a movie. Well, they have to do that to get the plot to go forward. Well, they don't realize they're in a horror movie, so it's easy for you to armchair quarterback. Fuck all that shit. You know how many effective horror movies and slashers we have that don't have to stick to bad writing, i.e. dumb as fuck character decisions to make their plot work? You got 1 or 2 moments where somebody does something dumb in a movie like this? Okay, fine. Fine, we can forgive that. Sometimes you can excuse it away as people do dumb shit when they're in heightened emotional states. Cool, I can agree with you. The whole fucking movie and the level of dumb decisions that we see in this? Hell no! First one right off the bat immediately made me hate the main character of the film. So you have that entire situation at the diner that I just described to you. Creepy as fuck, mechanics scoping out their car, a lot of weird locals giving them shit inside the diner. They come out, their brand new looking car mysteriously won't start. Horror trope. Hello again. Nice to see you. It's been 5 minutes. Then they're sitting there in the car like, I wonder why this isn't working. And creepy as fuck mechanic ends up right on the other side of the glass like this. Got some car trouble. So then, of course, they let this greasy old fuck look at their car, and he immediately gives them every reason in the fucking world, just pulled out of his ass, why he can't fix the problem right then and there. Your alternator's bad. Gonna have to fix it in the morning. Okay, well, can't you fix the alternator now? Nuh-uh. Store's closed. Unlikely. It's like 4 in the afternoon, but that's fine. I guess we'll get a hotel around here? Nuh-uh. Hotel's closed. All we got's one of them internet houses. And then the first moment that I actually breathed a sigh of relief thinking, oh good, this Strangers movie's actually gonna have some smart fucking people in it, the boyfriend immediately turns to basically the entire town that's watching this go down outside of the diner and says, okay, cut the bullshit, fuck this, this is a goddamn setup, you obviously fuck with our car, I saw you looking at us like a goddamn creep when we came in here, everybody's being all weird about this, there's no hotels, get the fuck out of here, what do you think I am, an idiot? And what does the girlfriend do? Immediately looks at him and says, oh my God, why are you being this way? What are you doing? Why do you gotta act this way? It's not a setup. Why do you're so paranoid? Yes, we'll take the Airbnb, yes. And of course, this pussy just goes along with it, doesn't put his foot down and say, are you fucking kidding me? How many more hints do you need? And then we finally get to this creepy ass cabin, which looks straight out of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, which is yet another hint and a half for your asses. And then you get the classic knock at the door in the middle of the night with the creepy-ass shadow person. You can't see any of their facial features, asking if Tamara is there. They say no and write it off as some weird kid, but the knocks continue, and they come back, and there's a lot of weird shit happening, and just a lot of really bad vibes going on. And rather than just saying, you know what? I think that there's enough going on so far that we should probably react like human beings. What I'm going to do is, things are a little hairy. I'm feeling like my breathing's a little off. And unfortunately, like dumbasses, we left my inhaler, the one thing that I need to live, in this car at that creepy old fuck's garage. So I'm gonna leave you here by yourself with no protection in the middle of the fucking woods in this creepy ass cabin with somebody walking around the outside asking for Tamara. And I'm gonna take that motorcycle over there that magically has keys still in it, even though I don't own it, drive to go get that and some burgers, and I'll come back later on. Then when dumbfuck McGee finally makes his way back to his girlfriend after she's been terrorized for 30 minutes, his immediate response to her being hiding in a fucking closet, hyperventilating, scared out of her mind, is to ask her what happened and then immediately discount and disbelieve everything that she says, which is pretty fucking reasonable. All she says is somebody's in this house. Somebody in a mask is in this house. After everything you've just encountered over the last 45 minutes of this fucking movie, is that really that much of a stretch? Apparently for this guy it is, because he's like, oh, it's that creepy picture over there on the wall. You're paranoid. I bet that's what it is, right? Yeah. Dude, I fucking defended you in the opening of the movie. Whenever you were seeing all the signs and made the human decision that some shit is going awry and your girlfriend did the dumb bitch move, I defended you. Now you're the dumb bitch in this scenario. And then all through the rest of the film, once things kick off, I mean, it's just ridiculous horror trope and dumb decision after another. Making noise in a closet when you're trying to hide. Having the flashlight on your phone open when you don't want anybody to find you. Hiding effectively and actually evading one of the strangers just to wait less than 10 seconds before you start moving and making a bunch of noise again, as if they're not 3 fucking feet from where they just were standing. Having a fully loaded shotgun pointed point blank range at the head of one of these motherfuckers and not pull the trigger. Oh, and you know that scene in the original that infuriates me so much where you have them trying to escape in their car. One of the strangers is standing in front of the car and Sackhead pulls up a truck behind them. And they say, oh my God, there's nothing we can do now. Let's go back in the house. You know how infuriating that scene is? Oh boy. Wait till you see what they got for you here. Same scenario. They get into a fully functional vehicle. Engines running. Salvation is fucking right there. And then the guy pulls up with the truck, and you see the headlights. And he hits them a little bit to let them know that he's there. They even have a fully loaded shotgun with them. So they're even more advantageous than the characters in the first fucking movie. Right there. They have proved this weapon works. And rather than drive off, like hit the fucking gas pedal and move your ass, or pick up the shotgun and point it at the fucking dude that's trying to ram you, they just sit there and they go, I wonder what he's doing. Oh my God. All I could say is that I hope things get better from here on out. There is a chance that all of the cool ideas that they actually had for this trilogy are in part 2 and part 3, and for some odd reason they just couldn't think of a more effective way to get things rolling than to very cheaply retread the original film that is significantly better than this. Again, coming from somebody that doesn't even like the original film. But all in all, I didn't find this to be entertaining. I didn't find it to be effectively creepy or tense. I found it to be maddeningly infuriating with the way that they write these characters and these scenarios. Yeah, a couple of good shots. Yeah, the strangers look good. That's not enough to merit a movie ticket for me. So I highly suggest you wait till VOD if you are interested in this. And if you're somebody like me that's already not really that hot on the Strangers franchise as it is, maybe just wait and see what chapter 2 and 3 come out like. Maybe if there's some good praise for those, jump back in. But as of now, this is a train wreck of a way to kick things off. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, please click over here for all of my 2024 new release reviews. And I'm also going to put my review of The Strangers Prey at Night. It is an oldie but a goodie. Classic vintage Cody. But like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.